What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Northern MX channel, or welcome to the Northern MX channel. On this channel we take broken bikes usually and we tear them down and completely rebuild them, make them race ready to go back on the track. And most times I'll put them up for sale, try and flip the bike. Sometimes I keep them, but it just depends on how things go. But if you guys want to see this build and you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. This bike is a 2004 CRF250. I picked this bike up for 900 bucks, and definitely the shape of the bike reflects the price. So we're gonna have a look at the bike there and kind of see what's going on with it. But first of all, I'd like to give a little shout out to Charles at MX Revival for hooking me up with these t-shirts here. I ordered one shirt off Charles just to you know, support the channel or whatever, but he didn't end up having the right shirt or exactly what I ordered, but you know, the customer service was great. So Chuck ended up hooking me up with like a couple of shirts instead, so he sent me two shirts instead of the one I ordered. So really good customer service. Check out Charles's channel there and check out his website. I'll put it down in the description below. But with that said, let's have a look at this bike and see what's going on with it there. Alright guys, here's the bike we're going to be rebuilding in this series. Like I said before, it's a 2004 Honda CRF250. The bike is definitely roached, no doubt about that. There's a lot of things going on with this bike, like just besides like the leaking fork seals and like the completely weathered bald tires. We got some definitely some damage on the muffler here, and the worst part of the deal is it is completely locked up, so that's definitely numero uno on the list to see what's going on there. So I'm gonna have to definitely strip this bike down and see if that engine is salvageable, and then I'll be able to deal with the other small little things, like you know, the studs broke off in the master cylinder there for the front brakes, and little things like that. So, you know, like always with all my builds, if this thing's worth doing, I'll do it. But as of right now, I definitely need to tear this thing down and see if it's worth rebuilding. So there is one good thing I'll mention about this bike, is like all the main components here, like the bike is mostly here. Like I think a lot of this stuff I'm going to end up reusing, just because I'm going to put, you know, I'm going to put a new graphics kit on it. So if you clean up this plastic a little bit, there's a couple pieces that need to be replaced. But when you start replacing like OEM parts, like or exhaust and things like that, then things start to get a little pricey. But this build should be straightforward. I think the biggest concern is definitely that engine there. So that is one good thing. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on OEM parts. So, and I'm going to take a bunch of little pieces and probably do my own little thing with them, powder coat them and all that. But right now I need to get to draining the oil, and on these Hondas, I think most of the 4-strokes, anywhere from like definitely 04 to like 13, is you have two different drain plugs. So you'll have your oil drain plug underneath here, and you've got the transmission drain plug right in there. I don't know if you can see it at the end of my finger there, but there's two different oil drains, so you got to watch for that when you're taking these bikes apart. Alright, so we're going to drain the transmission side first. So as you can see, the bolt's back here in behind the shifter. So it's a 12mm bolt, so you just take that out. Get your catch pan ready. Just take it right out. Might be easier just to take that shifter out, actually, because the bolt is completely missing, and I think I'm going to replace this shifter anyways, because doesn't seem to be much left to it. Now, one thing with these transmission bolts on these Hondas is you got to remember, if you're going to split the case, which I'm going to have to do, that bolt, let's see how that picks up there. That bolt needs to be out because this goes straight through into the other right hand case. So if that's not out of there, you're gonna break your cases. All right guys, so you can see there, that's kind of all that came out of the transmission drain. So I'm not super stoked on that, but everything worked well. I'll go through it after and show you what I did to make sure the transmission's turning properly. I don't think it's in the transmission because you can still wheel the bike in neutral. So so that plug there I'll put back for now, but like I mentioned earlier, you definitely have to take that out to split the cases. Alright guys, so the next thing to drain is like the regular oil sump. So that feeds like the top end and stuff like that. So the fill plug is underneath here. I don't know how well you can see it because there's like a little baffle right here probably to protect it, but the plug is right here. I don't know how well you guys are picking this up. I'm trying out a new camera here, so you won't be able to see it anyway, but the drain plug is right there. I'm not sure I'm in love with this camera yet. I'm gonna make this video with it and see how it goes. And I definitely give it the old college try. Do one video with it, and then see how it goes. See how it turns out on YouTube. All right, so let's see how this 13 fits. 13 is the winner. All right. So the trans oil is a 12, and this is a 13. But this could have been replaced at any point in time. This definitely might not be the plug that came with it. Definitely fighting its way out, and that's not usual on these. Usually you get a couple of cranks on it and it comes right out. Usually you don't have to fight it 3/4 of the way out. Well, I just heard something metal drop into that pan. So, oh yeah. Well, we'll definitely check that out after. That's not good. Alright, so we're almost done draining the oil here now, and like I said, I heard a couple of clunkers hit the bottom of the pan here, and it had nothing to do with the oil plug, because that's right there, washer's intact. So I seen a couple of little pieces there. I'm not sure what they were, but what I'll do is I'll put a piece of shop towel in the funnel when I drain it, when I pour this out, and see what it catches. All right, so I got the little pieces of metal on the bench here now. So they're definitely all magnetic. So usually I think those crank bearings are a combination between brass and steel. So I'm hoping that's what went, but I'm definitely gonna have to open up that engine and find out. I hope this isn't pieces of more expensive parts, but usually I'm kind of happy that they're magnetic, because that means it's not aluminum. So hopefully the all the aluminum pieces like the head and the cylinder are all intact. So, but I'll definitely have to get the bike tore down to figure that out. Alright, so now that all the oils are drained, now if you're taking one of these apart, you're going to want to drain the coolant. Usually the coolant drain plug is the one with the crush washer on it, which is this one in this case. So I'm going to take that one out and see what goes on, what comes out of there. So that was not it. Try this one. I think usually it's this one, so this one probably should have had a crush washer on it. it's looking like that's exactly the case. And you get the coolant coming out. And you let that kind of just drain for a while. And then when it kind of dies off there, then you'll crack the top cap here in the rad. And then that'll unlock the air. Then it should come pissing out of there. Just like that. So you don't want to take that cap off right away, or when you pull the bolt out, this is what'll happen and you'll make a big mess. So you want to take the bolt out, then crack that rad cap after. So I'll go over this a little bit. This is pretty much done here. So this bolt here with that crush washer on it, that was put in the wrong hole. So it was put up here, but it should have been put in here. So they're both the same length. So that bolt should have went in there, the bolt with nothing on it. And then this one here with the crush washer should have went into the drain hole here. But it just kind of goes to show you, I guess these things they'll hold coolant without a crush washer in there. Alright guys, so now that everything's drained, all the fluids are out of this bike now, it's time to start tearing this down. So I'm going to start with taking the seat off and just having a look at the air filter there. Right, we're into the air filter now. So it's like a little dry. There's oil on it, definitely, but not a whole bunch. It looks like it's sealed up pretty good. So it feels like it has the cage in there still, so that's a good thing. Like I said, a lot of these bikes I buy, they're missing filter cages and stuff like that. So that's good. So the next thing I'll probably get to is start taking off all these plastics now. So all the plastics are off now. They're over in the corner there. I got them all put aside, so I'm going to go through those. Some of those I'm going to keep, like I said. Some of them are going to have to be replaced. But I think the next parts that are going to have to come off next is probably going to be the gas tank. And then I'll go with the subframe. And then probably take the forward controls off. And then after that, I'll probably work my way down, do the front end of the bike, take all the forks off and everything. Alright guys, I'm getting it torn down pretty good here. I'm going to take a quick pause from tearing it down, because with these locked up engines, I like to take these little ports off, the little covers, and you can get in here on the Hondas and turn the engine with a ratchet or something like that. And if you take the other, I don't really like how Honda does this, but on this side here, this is the timing window. So you'll turn the whole engine, and then this little hash mark here, probably hard to see, but there's a little hash mark there. You line that up with the there's a little mark on the flywheel in there. So I like to kind of get a sense of what's going on in the engine. So it's a good thing if you can turn the engine backwards. So what I'll do is I'll just put the ratchet in there, and I'll try and just turn it easily. And I believe if you turn this left, that will turn the engine the proper way. And that makes sense because it's locked. So what I'll do is I'll try and turn the engine the other way and see if it'll free up. No, and it doesn't seem to want to go at all. So that is not good at all, because that usually means something pretty big has gone wrong. Usually if it's just the main crank bearing, not the main bearings themselves, but the main crank bearing that the rod is connected to, the big end. Usually if that's gone, you can usually turn it one way or the other. But this one might be just really bad, you never know. Yeah, so it looks like I'm not going to be able to get this engine into top dead center before I open it up, so I'm going to have to just take it out and open it up just like it is. But I like to check that before I take the engine out, because it's easier to put the wrench in and torque on this piece while it's all fastened down to the lift and everything. Alright guys, so I kind of went through the engine a little bit, and so now that I know it's going to be a headache to take apart, you always want to put an engine into top dead center on the compression stroke when you take it apart, but with these blown up engines, it's just not that easy. So what I'm going to do now is probably take the suspension off, and then just go from there, take the rads off, maybe take the swing arm off, get a little bit closer to getting that engine out on the bench. Alright, so I got the rads off now, so that's perfect. So now I'll be able to get at the nuts for the exhaust really easy. But first of all, I've got to get some things loosened up on the engine mounts. You always want to loosen up the engine mounts here, like this one, that one. And then take off your brake, all that stuff, your master cylinder. And then you can loosen this swing arm nut. And then you should be able to hit that out a lot easier. If you keep this all tightened in like that. I mentioned this in at least one video, maybe two. If you keep all this tight, this shaft might bind in there. If you keep the engine nice and loose and you loosen that off, it tends to come out a little easier. So always loosen off these mount bolts here. Alright guys, so I got the swing arm out here now. One thing I did forget to mention, I forgot to take them out, is the engine hangers. It's a good idea to take those out too. It's not as important obviously because it came out pretty easy, but everything helps when you're taking that axle out there. So now I'm going to go ahead and start getting ready to pull this engine right out, because all that really needs to come out now is get this electrical out of the way, get the exhaust header out of the way, and I've already taken the carb out. That's easy enough to do. You just take off the screw here and you just pull it out. You got to pull some cables and everything through here, but it's pretty straightforward. So there's a couple little snags like the throttle position sensor and all that, but just take your time when you're taking those out, because there's a lot of little pieces that can crack off. But other than that, I'm just going to go ahead and pull everything off and get this engine out. There it is guys, stripped right down to the frame. I got a pile of parts here on the garage floor, and the engine is out on the bench, so that'll be definitely upcoming to see what's going on in that. So I gotta kind of organize everything in here, and then I'll start tearing this engine apart and see what's going on in there, see if there's anything serious happening in there, or is it just normal rebuild, what I usually do. Hopefully that's all it is. So yeah, so that frame is super crusty, so I gotta definitely do some cleaning on that. Decide what I'm gonna do with it as far as powder coating. I think I'm probably gonna powder coat that subframe and the swing arm, but that'll be to determined. So other than that, that'll probably be it. But with all that said and done guys, I'm gonna call this video done. So if you're new to the channel and you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell if you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.